agree with Kirk and AJ. I think he'd be a great fit, obviously, but I don't think he's going to leave the NBA. It's not about coming to Indiana. I don't think he's going to leave the NBA, but someone I think is a very, very attractive look for them is coaching in the Simon Scott Assembly Hall this weekend, and it's Chris Beard. And I think that has really something that could be looked at. You guys obviously know way more than I do about that. But what do you think about someone like him, John, who he was a former assistant to Coach Knight at Texas Tech? Some similarities there, but he's been very successful. He's been to a Final Four, two-time Coach of the Year in the Big 12, and they compete in a very, very difficult conference.
Right. And the other thing that I think our coach would need to have is success at a Power 5 conference. Somebody that's proven they can do it at a big school. And now they're just trying to get that next dream job. I mean, think there's 6 great jobs, as you guys know, and Indiana's one of them. And those are the 6 jobs everybody wants to get.
John, you think Indiana's still like what? Why wouldn't Mark Few come? He's not coming. I mean, I don't know if Indiana's is the elite job anymore.
It's not the elite job now. It's got the history of the other 5 schools over a 70-year period. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I'm about that.
It's going to take a guy who says, I want to bring this thing back to where it was. And that's why somebody with an Indiana connection will understand that. I was at the PGA in St. Louis, 3 or 4 years ago, Belle Reve, and Jim Nance was there covering it for CBS. And I saw him in the lobby, introduced myself. He remembered who I was. He goes, the NCAA tournament's just not the same without Indiana there. He said, you guys got to get going and get back to the tournament. So not only are Indiana fans wanting to get back, it's all those other guys. They want to see Indiana play Carolina and UCLA and Duke. Those are the games they want to see, and we're not a part of it.
But my only concern about that is Brad Stevens would be a great fit, only because Butler had the identity of bringing in guys for 4 years.
Right.
You don't have to go recruit the one and done guy.
Yeah.
You get guys in there that want to play for the university, and they're going to be there 3-4 years. And I guarantee you, give me a team with 3-4 year players, and I'll go beat one and done guys just by being older, more mature, more physical. Kentucky doesn't win it every year.
Well, they had a very difficult time this year.
And Brad Stevens growing up, if he would have died to play for IU.
Right.
He's a high school basketball player. He would have loved to come to Indiana because that was his lifelong dream to play at Indiana. He wasn't good enough, but he understood what it was all about growing up and seeing the whole thing. Mm-hmm. His teams played a way that you could gravitate to as a fan because they were easy to root for. They played hard all the time. They played the right way. They might get beat because physically they just weren't as good as some of the other teams, but they were hard to play against. And I just want to see Indiana teams hard to play against again. And that's where I worry that the flavor of the month type of hire, which is what we did with Archie Miller, is going to come in. They're not going to win right away, and people are going to get impatient, and it's all over again. This hire, to me, if it's not a Brad Stevens, we get an XIU guy or something that somebody can come in and there'll be some patience because we can't do this every 3 or 4 years. It's not good for the program.
AJ, is someone like Chris Beard someone that fits into that category, even if it's not from Indiana, but being an assistant under Coach Knight in a different place? But is that close enough? Because the style of play that we've seen from his teams on the court has been what I think a lot of Hoosier fans would like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Chris Beard is a viable candidate, man. He's a tough-minded coach. I think Coach Knight is his idol, and he's built something special down at Texas Tech, which is I would understand why he would want to leave Texas Tech to come to Indiana when he'll have his name on the floor at Texas Tech in the next 10 years. So to come get beat up by our fans, but that's why I'm with Joe. That's why I think it's got to be somebody that everybody's going to be patient with. This is a different animal. I use a different animal when it comes to what he's going to have to do to go out there and speak to alumni, kiss babies, hug, do all those kind of things that Indiana guys understand they have to do that they did for 4 years. So, while I think that he's definitely one of the top candidates, I think people want him.
He would be good. Don't get me wrong. He'd be good.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's one of the top 5 coaches in the country, in my opinion. So
he's got a tattoo on his back. 4 is to 1.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
The other thing we're missing, guys, is
into some of that.
The alumni are endeared to all of us. We stayed there. They got to know us. We were on winning teams. We're good guys. It's like we hardly know these guys in the last 20 years. They leave early or they don't have successful teams, and you don't grow that endearment to the alumni base. And it's just another guy, and he's gone. Let's see what the next guy is. And the one thing that you've all talked about is how great it is to be part of the family, an IU grad. Coach made us graduate, and you love coming back. And we've lost that endearment. The alumni do not have that. They don't get to know the players as well as they did when we were there on winning teams.
That's a great point, John. And one of the things where I completely lost all respect for Archie Miller was when we went back in February and we are playing Purdue and we are getting our ass kicked at half, and we go through the whole ceremony bringing Coach Knight back. If Archie Miller had any respect for Indiana basketball, his players would have been standing on that sideline watching and saying, this is what Indiana is all about, and you guys need to get out here and see what it was made by, because you're disrespecting this group the way you play. And he didn't. I guarantee that never crossed his mind. And I cannot believe you did not have those players out there watching that at the halftime.
AJ a lot of people.
AJ will remember this probably. I think that he did it while he was there too. But when we weren't playing the way we should practice, one of the things that Coach Knight would do was take us down on the end, and without talking for about 40 minutes or 30 minutes, we'd have to stand the baseline and stare at the banners. And it would just be like, he would just be silent, and he would just every now and then he would say, I want you to remember these numbers. He said, if I ever ask you the numbers that are on these banners, you better know them. It was 40, 53, 76, 81, 87. I cannot tell you my kids' birthdays most days, but I will remember those numbers for the rest of my life.